Color correction. Nathan, before we get into it, tell us a little bit about yourself.
I'm Nathan. For the most part, my workhorse job is director of photography, and then color correction, color grading is kind of the secondary thing that I do.
So you got the color correction, color grading, and then you said you also are a DP. How does one help or harm the other, and then vice versa?
Well, they have to both be working in complete harmony, and that's one of the benefits of being a colorist. A lot of the stuff that I'm coloring is stuff that I've shot. Out in the industry, those would be separate jobs. And the coloring side of it, or as it's called, the digital intermediate. So basically what we're doing is we're manipulating an image for delivery. Can also be called the finalize the image, finishing process. But the DP is the one who really sets the look from the beginning, working with the director. And then the DP maintains the fidelity of it through production, and then we'll oversee the coloring process at the end. And the colorist's job is to make sure that that vision is maintained and that the fidelity is kept all the way through delivery to what you see on the screen.
For those that don't know what color correcting or color grading is, like, what is it?
Well, it can be a number of things. It all depends on the job. If the DP wants to get something in camera, which I like to work where I'm getting the look I want in camera as much as possible. So working with the gaffer, the camera operator, so that we're really establishing the mood and the feel there on set. And I like that because then everybody on set can really hone in and get on the same page. And when that's the case, the colorist, he's really just kind of bringing stuff in and making small tweaks here and there. We shoot a variety of formats, one of them being log format, which is a logarithmic way of recording information, so you squeeze in lots of tonal range, but when it comes back into the system, it looks very flat, washed out. There's very little color or contrast. So that would be one of the main jobs, is just getting that, and that's what we call color correction, is just getting the image back to scene referred data. So that means it's back to what it looked like looking through the eyepiece on set. But a lot of times you're also building a look in color correction. So then that becomes what we call color grading. And that's a whole other world. So that's where it becomes less, less processed and more artful, so that the painting, so to speak.
You talked about log as a way that you can kind of shoot. Every one of our cameras that we have, you can shoot. If they can shoot log, that's an option, or you can kind of shoot with the look in camera.
Yeah.
Why not go ahead and just do that and bypass shooting log and having to worry about color correction?
The beauty of log is it records so much information without baking it in, so you're not completely tied to it later. When we light stuff, if we have complete 100% control of the set, and you can light every tonal range within a 10 stop scale. So if you had a grayscale and you divided it into 10 pieces, we call each piece a stop of light, which is a stop of information. If you can light everything within 10 stops, then you might not need that, but rarely is that the case. And we see beyond 10 stops of latitude. The eye sees beyond that. So when you record log, you're giving yourself that opportunity to bring in tones that you wouldn't be able to on a cheaper camera.
Let's take a look at kind of some examples that you brought with us.
This is DaVinci Resolve. So this is a very powerful processing system, and it gives you so many tools to do a lot of things. So I did shoot this And this was something that we established the look in camera using different methods. So that's what it looks like, straight out of the camera. Nasty, right? We don't like that. And so when I bring it in, I use this method. So there we go, back to scene referred data. So that's what it looked like to my eye when we shot this. And it all goes to the story. The story really drives everything that we do in production. And it has to be a harmony. So you've got to hit the mood and the tone of the story with everything that you do. And here, it was a woman who nearly died, and the technology and the doctors saved her life. We wanted the room itself to be kind of cold and close to death, but then we lit the subject very warm because the people are what make this stuff work. Then I just accentuated that in the grade. So I pulled more blue into the shadows into the room, which then makes the warmth on his skin. To me, that communicated the story we're trying to tell. One reason why this is a good example is we're constantly mixing footage from other shoots into edits. Another big job that the colorist has is matching footage across so you have a consistent look and feel. This shot comes in looking like this. Very different from the look we established on our shoots. So I go through and I sync it to as close as I can get to the look that we developed here. That's what this program allows me to do. And I've got this panel here. And the way I describe it is I can do everything I need to do on a keyboard and a mouse, but this is like living out of a suitcase. It's all there, but you got to dig in and find it. It can get very messy and slow. This is like a walk-in closet. Everything is there. It's at your fingertips, and it's very fast to get around and do things. So, for example, like I can use these wheels, and it's a very smooth implementation of adjusting parameters.
With kind of all the different projects you've worked on, color correcting, like what's the consistent challenge?
The consistent challenge is building the look and asking yourself, is this really the fidelity of what we need to do? And is this the right look?
Yeah.
Because you're constantly battling your mind of, I usually make a few different looks for a project and then decide which one I think is working the best. And that can be hard. And then I would say on a technical side, just dealing with a lot of different formats. So if somebody shot iPhone footage and then we put it in with, a Red camera or a Alexa, matching those is very difficult, and it takes a little bit of that elbow grease, and for good reason. An iPhone you can go buy across the street. This camera here and that camera there, those are the best tools for what we do in the world.
We've kind of exceeded our limit, but we got any questions for Nathan in color correction? Tammy?
Are you able or to do something in a shorter term to affect some positive change?
Yes, and it's very similar to what Rodney's saying. You're never really done. The time's up. So there's always stuff that we want to do and keep working on, but we just work within the time that we have.
And there's also, the part that we're not even really kind of covering at all with this is what's happening on the pre and post end of like round tripping this footage through this application. It's first it's shot, then it's ingested, it goes into Avid, edit's done, and then from there there's another process of basically getting that media either exported or consolidated to then be available to be edited here. And sometimes you're juggling huge clips that are gigabytes large, and so it's all about the time. Do you have the time to kind of get all that media identified, consolidated, then put into the DaVinci, and then be able to get color corrected, and then round tripped back to Avid to then get your final export? Nathan, thank you so much.